Alright guys, so the co-main event at UFC Fight Night Over vs. Volkov is Cory Sandhagen versus Frankie Edgar. This fight is a bantamweight fight. Cory Sandhagen, the third best bantamweight fighter in the world. He has 13 wins and only 2 losses. Frankie Edgar, the 10th best bantamweight fighter in the world. He has 24 wins, 8 losses, and 1 draw. And guys, the betting odds for the fight are absolutely insane. Cory Sandhagen at minus 415 as a heavy favorite to win the fight. Frankie Edgar at plus 300 as a moderate underdog to win the fight. And guys, Cory Sandhagen is 28, almost 29 years old. Frankie Edgar is 39 years old, so a humongous age advantage for Cory Sandhagen in the fight. And guys, if you look at the height and reach advantage for Cory Sandhagen, it is absolutely insane. Cory Sandhagen, 5 foot 11 inches tall and has a reach of 70 inches. Frankie Edgar, so much smaller at 5 foot 6 inches tall and has a reach of 68 inches. So huge advantages there for Cory Sandhagen in the fight. And guys, if you look at the top 2 predictions for this fight, out of 1,200 different votes, 83% of the vote going for Cory Sandhagen to win the fight, mainly by decision, and then a couple of people have Cory Sandhagen getting a knockout in the first or second round. 17% of the vote going for Frankie Edgar to win the fight, also mainly by decision, and then a couple of people have Frankie Edgar going out there and getting a first or second round knockout. In my opinion, I give the chances that we see a first or second round knockout in the fight, maybe 20-25% chance, but most likely this fight's going to go all the way, and one of these two fighters is going to win the fight by unanimous decision. Alright, so Cory Sandhagen, 13 wins and only 2 losses. He started with 5 straight wins in a row. 3 of the wins coming by decision and 2 of the wins coming by submission in the very first round. But after that 5-fight win streak in 2017, he joined the LFA and got his first ever pro-made loss to Jamal Emmers by unanimous decision, and then came back with a first round head kick KO win and a first round knockout, which got him a shot inside the UFC in 2018. He got a second round body shot knockout win over Austin Arnett, a second round TKO win over L'Oreal Contra, a first round armbar submission win over an undefeated fighter at the time in Mario Batista, a split decision win over John Lineker, a decision win over Javier Lasansal, lost his next fight in 2020 to Aljamain Sterling, who's about to fight Petrian for the UFC Bantamweight Championship at UFC 259, lost the fight by first round rear naked choke submission, came back with a second round wheel kick knockout over Marlon Moraes in a main event fight a couple of weeks ago, and now inside the UFC, he looks to make 2 in a row in this fight. Alright, so Frankie Edgar, 24 wins, 8 losses, and 1 draw. He beat guys like Jim Miller, he beat Sean Shirk, he beat BJ Penn 3 times, he beat Gray Maynard, he drawled with Gray Maynard, he lost to Gray Maynard, he fought Benson Henderson twice, he fought Jose Aldo, he beat Charles Oliveira, he beat BJ Penn, he beat Cub Swanson, he beat Uriah Faber. Oh my god, this list is gonna take forever. He beat Chad Mendez, he lost to Jose Aldo, he beat Jeremy Stevens, he beat Yair Rodriguez, he fought Brian Ortega, he fought Cub Swanson, he fought Max Holloway, oh my god, he fought Chan Sung Jung, and then he finally fought Pedro Munoz. I mean, this dude has fought so many amazing fighters in the lightweight division, in the featherweight division, I mean, even in the bantamweight division. I mean, that is absolutely insane. But now into the UFC, he looks to make it 2 in a row against Cory Sandhagen in this fight. Alright guys, so Cory Sandhagen is 28 years old, almost in the prime of his career. Frankie Edgar is 39, almost 40 years old, near the end of his pro career. Now, Frankie Edgar, as you guys know, he's an absolute legend and has fought so many other amazing MMA fighters, mainly in the lightweight and featherweight division. But as you guys know, he recently made his move down to the 135-pound division, the bantamweight division, and ended up fighting Pedro Munoz in a 5-round main event. And before that fight, in the bantamweight division with Pedro Munoz, he was in the featherweight division and fought the Korean Zombie and Max Holloway, both in 5-round fights. And guess what, guys? In the Max Holloway fight, he went for a total of 16 takedowns and only landed 1 takedown in the fight, and only had 1 minute of total control time, making that fight basically a kickboxing fight. Now, Frankie Edgar did really good in that fight, landing a lot of leg kicks and a lot of good body shots, but in the fight, he only had 57 total strikes, landing to the head of Max Holloway, and Max Holloway had 106 strikes to the head of Frankie Edgar, literally having double the amount of strikes. And because Frankie Edgar had half of the amount of strikes as Max Holloway did, he lost the fight 50-45, 49-46 on the judges' scorecards, and after that fought the Korean Zombie in a 5-round main event, but ended up getting knocked out in the very first round. And after that, as I said, he moved down to the bantamweight division and ended up fighting Pedro Munoz also in a 5-round fight. It was a really close back and forth war, and both of the fighters had pretty similar numbers, but Frankie Edgar won the fight by split decision in a very close fight, and Pedro Munoz to this day still says they won the fight 48-47, but that fight was a really close fight. And guys, Cory Sandhagen, wow, this dude has a humongous reach advantage, he has a humongous height advantage, he has a humongous age advantage, and also this fight is a 3-round fight, which is also another advantage for Cory Sandhagen in the fight. If you look at Frankie Edgar, most of his fights are are 5-round fights, and he tends to come back in the 4th and 5th round in those fights. And guys, he will not have those 4th and 5th rounds in this fight because it is a co-main event. Alistair Overeem and Alexander Volkov are the main event, so this fight is a 3-round fight, which is definitely an advantage for Cory Sandhagen in the fight. And guys, Cory Sandhagen usually goes out there and finishes the fight in the 1st or 2nd round, or makes it a kickboxing battle, lands a lot of leg kicks and a lot of good body shots. We saw him in his first fight inside the UFC. He had a 2nd round, a body punch knockout, absolutely insane. And guys, Frankie Edgar can definitely wrestle for sure, and Cory's takedown defense is only 30%, which is not the best, especially against a guy like Frankie Edgar. But guys, Cory Sandhagen, as we all know, has a reach advantage and has a height advantage. I actually think he's going to use a height and reach advantage in this fight to defend the takedowns. He's going to keep the fight a little bit at range, and it's not going to allow Frankie Edgar to go for any takedowns in the fight. And guys, if Cory Sandhagen can do this, keep the fight on the feet, landing a lot of good leg kicks, landing a lot of good body shots, keep the fight on the feet, I think 100% Cory Sandhagen is going to win the fight by unanimous decision. Alright, so if you agree with that prediction, or maybe you guys disagree with that prediction, I don't really care. Put your predictions in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think that happened in this bantamweight fight. If you guys think that Frankie Edgar is going to go out there and dominate the fight and get a 2nd round at TKO win, if you guys think that Cory Sandhagen is going to go out there and get a 2nd round at TKO win in the fight, whatever your prediction is for this bantamweight fight, put it in the comments below. If you guys like the video, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe.